So we talked about Manchester United's new signing and their recruitment. Let's talk about Liverpool. Now, if we talk about Isak and Wirtz, it's only 8 starts between the two of them. So we're not dealing with this on the basis of a lot of evidence. But is the evidence there that they are going to click, that they are going to start producing?
I think the evidence is definitely there with Isak. Because he's been in the Premier League before, he was fantastic for Newcastle. He's got to score that chance when he's
and Slot says now his pre-season's over. He's now ready to be judged.
Oh, listen, listen, I said a few weeks ago, maybe for Florian Wirtz, he's found it tough to get up to the speed of the Premier. It's not just about the goals and assists. Obviously, we know he hasn't got one yet, but it can be in general play as well. And we know there's a different physicality in the Premier League to the Bundesliga. And I heard Jamie say before the game, and plenty of people doing the right to say, oh, it's too early to judge. And of course, as you've just said, 7 or 8 games. But I mean, is there a certain game where it's okay? What do we have to get to? 15, 20? What I'm saying is, it's like you've got to. I'm not expecting to see the Bayer Leverkusen Florian Wirtz in the first 7 games, but I'm expecting to see him
improve.
Just little glimpses where you think, okay, he can get there. We haven't seen much at all, really. And with Isak, as I say, he's got to score that chance. That's not about being at a new club. That's just a poor finish. He's not thinking of that when he's going through. You've just got to score that. But no, listen, I think it's interesting when. And we've all said this in as a pundit, where we talk about how long do you give foreign players when they come to the league. Some people say you don't write the first year off, but the second year they'll improve and get better. But if I'm being totally honest, in my experience of players who've come to the club when I was a player, if I think of the great foreign signings, and the first one that comes to me, I'll think Sami Hyypiä, Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, Luis Suarez, Didi Hamann coming in. They all hit the ground running. I can't think of many who had a really average, poor. I'm not talking 7 games, by the way. If we're talking getting to Christmas, January, February, when you haven't seen much, you're a little bit like, ooh, because for me, history doesn't tell me that foreign signings coming into England take a year. People always say Thierry Henry. It's nonsense. Thierry Henry scored 25 goals in his first season for Arsenal.
He didn't score for his first 8, though.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is,
so
it wasn't a year.
So you do need to be patient then. If he didn't score for his first 8, then...
I know, but I'm just saying 7 or 8 games is too early. But what I'm saying is, once we start getting to January, February, March, it's a bit like, when is the time when we can start saying, hang on, maybe this was a mistake? Yes, you can talk about getting used to up to speed, and we're at that stage now, 7 or 8 games. But in my experience with players, especially at Liverpool, players who are great, foreign signings for the club, more often than not, they hit the ground running. I would say 99% of them.
So I think there are others that don't. Gravenberch took a while. Mm-hmm. There are others that maybe do take a little bit more time. And the thing is, as well, this pre-season, I think for Liverpool was probably the most difficult they've ever had to go through, for obviously what happened with the tragedy and everything like that. So everything's been disrupted and been so tough for the players. So what that has done to a lot of the players, and that disruption must have been so tough for everybody. They've lost one of their, not just a teammate, also a brother to a lot of them. So it's been really difficult. Now, players coming in, like Florian Wirtz, there's been a few moments. If he has the assist against Chelsea and Salah scores for him, we'll talk about, wow, what an assist. He's off, he's running. Now, I'm not sure, excuse me, if he's going to be that person that's going to be always sliding balls through. He might be at times like a little bit like, I would say, a Luka Modric. Now, Luka Modric, you judged him purely on his goals and assists. You maybe think he wouldn't be the player that we will talk about, but he would be the player that would make the pass and makes the pass. Now, that might be Florian Wirtz. Today, when he come on, he showed me a lot of qualities, and I thought, yeah, he was willing to get on the ball. It wasn't easy for him. I think we've got a real player there, but it's going to take time. The intensity of this league, especially for someone like him, it's so robust, and he might just be finding that a bit more difficult than what we all expected. He might have to go on a little bit of a strength and conditioning situation for a few months and get him even stronger. But I've got no doubt, because I've seen players like that in the Premier League and I've seen him in Germany, he will be a success here. But again, we have to be a little bit patient. Isak, I'm not worried about, as Jamie says. He's played in this league for the last few years. He's going to be comfortable, but there isn't added pressure when you play for Liverpool.
It sort of brings me back to something you said before the game, Jamie, which is that when Mo Salah isn't playing well, Liverpool are maybe having to have someone else as their star player. However, is that an Isak? Is that a Florian Wirtz? Is it someone else? They're now looking for a different I don't know, pivotal player in that starting lineup. Who do you think that the future player that Liverpool build their team around is?
Well, it has to be Isak and Wirtz, because they've spent the money on them, and their age profile compared to Mo Salah. And I do think, watching Mo Salah this season, and I absolutely love him. But if we know he's good, there's a tactical setup with Mo Salah in that he doesn't help Liverpool's right back. But that's I'm not criticising him for being lazy, not getting back. We lauded Arne Slot for allowing Salah that role last season, and he probably hasn't got the legs to get up and down like a conventional wide player. But if you're not getting nothing going the other way, you're obviously losing something that way, but you're not gaining it going the other way. And watching Mo Salah today, he never got found out sort of defensively because he doesn't track back today. But he was off with the ball. He lost the ball a lot through the game, and that can happen with him even in his prime. But what I would say with Mo Salah right now is I think we're at the stage where I don't think Mo Salah should be like a Virgil van Dijk, where it's like first name on the team sheet. So Liverpool have got 2 away games, one of the Champions League in Frankfurt, and then they go to Brentford. I don't think Mo Salah should start both of those games. He should always be starting at Anfield, because Liverpool are going to be on top, be around the edge of the box, and more often than not, he scores in those situations today. But I do think with away games and helping your right fullback as well, I don't think Mo Salah should be starting every game right now, certainly away from home. With the form that he's in.
Was he on the bench for the Galatasaray game in Europe?
Yeah, and I think we'll see that a little bit more going forward. Because
Will he be okay with that, Jamie? Will he be okay with that, or is he type to spit his dummy out? Or?
Probably not. I wouldn't imagine we're not all great with being on the bench, but I think when you get to a certain age as well, I think we all have to understand that as well, and especially when you're not playing well. Where's your argument? It's different if you're banging in the goals and the manager makes a tactical decision and you're frustrated. I don't think Mo Salah's in any position to complain if he was left out of one of the next 2 away games. But I do think always play him at home. But I think right now playing him away from home in every game, I think the manager should look at maybe something slightly different in terms of Frimpong.
What do you think? Is it time to start managing his career?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Jurgen Klopp did it a couple of times. He didn't like it when he took him off. I remember at West Ham one day, and there was a few words crossed between the two of them. So it has happened even a few years ago. So it's not anything new. I mean, do I look at him and think that he's a different player right now? I think last year he was so good early in the season, but there seems to be a drop-off. His form, his confidence is low. He's not looking the same player right now. But when you talk about like world-class players, and I know he's obviously playing a totally different league, but you still have to bring him up. He's Ronaldo and the age he's still at. Now, these are great players, and he's so fit. I still think he's got a lot more to offer. He's just having a bit of a bad time, and it's like everybody else in this team. So it's very easy to look at all the different players. There's not one player that I would say, they're at the level they were last year at the moment. And that's what's making it really difficult, not just for the manager, but also for the team.
There's lots of dynamics going on with the attacking players and who aren't on great form, and new players settle in. But that's where you go back to basics and start going, at least be harder to beat. Let's attack and defend as a team. Just looks a bit disjointed.
Arsenal's secret to success. What Mikel Arteta told his new stars to inspire a title charge. Arsenal's summer signings weren't just brought in to strengthen the squad, they were brought into a mindset, a belief, a mission, and according to 21-year-old defender Christian Mosquera, it's a mission fueled not only by ambition but by something deeper, the pain of coming so close, yet falling short. During the international break, Mosquera shared some revealing insights in an interview while on duty with Spain's U21s. Since joining Arsenal this summer, the young centre-back has already made his presence felt, stepping up in a squad that boasts one of the strongest defensive pairings in the league, William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. It hasn't been easy, but Mosquera has embraced the competition and earned his minutes in a side that currently leads the Premier League table. But perhaps even more impressive than his performances on the pitch is what he's learned off it. We look around the dressing room and you can feel it's a winning atmosphere, Mosquera said. We believe in ourselves, we know what we're capable of, so why not believe we can win it all? He went on to explain that, before the season even began, Mikel Arteta made one thing very clear to all the new players: the frustration and heartbreak of seasons past, the narrow title misses, the near misses in Europe, the sense of a club on the verge but not quite over the line. There's a real optimism this year, Mosquera added. Everyone is happy, focused. There's a feeling that this could finally be the year, and that's what makes his words so powerful. Because for all the current success stop of the league, deep in European competition people sometimes forget just how far Arsenal has come. When Arteta took over, the club was 11th in the Premier League, out of the Champions League picture, and struggling to find its identity. Fast forward to now, 3 second-place finishes, a Champions League semi-final, and a squad that's not only talented but unified. Arsenal is firmly among Europe's elite again. Just look at how long other giants have struggled. Manchester United haven't truly recovered since Sir Alex Ferguson's departure. Liverpool's Premier League title in 2020 came after decades of waiting. By contrast, Arsenal's resurgence under Arteta has been swift and built on clear vision and trust in youth. Still, as Mosquera puts it, second place isn't enough anymore. Not for this group. The standards have shifted. There's a hunger in the squad, he said. Everyone wants more, no one's satisfied just being close. We want to finish what we've started. It's clear that Arteta has instilled more than just tactics, he's cultivated belief. By making sure the new faces understood the emotional toll of past failures, he's sparked something powerful, a united desire not just to compete, but to conquer. Whether that will be enough to finally lift the Premier League trophy remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, this Arsenal side isn't afraid of the pressure anymore, they welcome it. And maybe, just maybe, that's the edge they need to finally cross the finish line. The pressure continues to build, but so does the belief. As Christian Mosquera adapts to life at Arsenal, it's clear that his arrival is part of a broader transformation happening within the club. More than just a new defender, Mosquera represents a new standard, one built on quiet confidence, accountability, and a hunger for more than just progress. Shortly after joining, Mosquera found himself thrown into the fire stepping in during a key match when William Saliba suffered an injury. Despite the intensity of the situation, he described feeling calm and focused, a reflection of the trust placed in him by the coaching staff. It was a defining moment that showed not only his readiness, but also how deeply Arteta's philosophy has taken root in the squad: composure under pressure, clarity in roles, and a relentless focus on winning. What stands out most in Mosquera's comments is how Arteta's messaging has shaped the internal mindset. He and the other summer signings were not simply told what the club expects, they were shown what had been lost in recent years, and what now had to be reclaimed. The second-place finish, the narrow eliminations in Europe, these were not dismissed. They were used as fuel. Within the squad, the message is clear: close is not good enough anymore. That standard has rippled through every part of the team. Training sessions are sharper, communication is louder. The locker room isn't just filled with hope, it's filled with intent. There's a noticeable shift in how players talk about their goals. It's no longer about returning to the top, it's about staying there. Still, belief alone doesn't win titles. Consistency, especially under pressure, is what separates contenders from champions. Earlier in the season, moments of doubt crept in, whether after unexpected losses or flat performances. But instead of being deflated, the team has used those moments to reinforce what they're building. Arteta's response to setbacks has also been crucial. He's challenged his players to respond with fire, not frustration. When the team slips, he doesn't shy away from demanding more. But at the same time, he keeps them grounded. His approach is not built on emotion alone, it's tactical, psychological, and deeply personal. Players know where they stand, and they know what's expected. This blend of structure and emotion has created a culture that's difficult to shake. Younger players like Mosquera are not just developing, they're growing within a system that expects excellence, not in the future, but now. And perhaps that's the biggest change at Arsenal. For years, the conversation was about potential, about returning to former glory, about building something long-term. But now, that tone has shifted. This team doesn't want to wait for next year. They believe the time is now. They believe the frustration of the past has a purpose, to drive them forward until the final day of the season, with nothing left to prove, only something to lift. Whether that belief will be enough to finally cross the finish line is yet to be seen. But for the first time in a long time, Arsenal looks and sounds like a club that truly expects to win. And that expectation, more than anything, may be the most powerful weapon they have.